On this edition of Backroads, there's nothing like a homemade lunch.
If you ask them today what their favorite lunch is, I guarantee you it will be whatever we served yesterday.
We make a phone call to the past.
Frank, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Catch an amorous display. And meet a man who's more than the instruments he makes.
He's a very loving, generous man.
Keep your head still. The rest of Backroads is sure to follow.
Backroads of Montana is made possible with production support from the Greater Montana Foundation, encouraging communication on issues, trends, and values of importance to Montanans. The Montana Office of Tourism at visitmt.com, and the University of Montana.
Home is where Montana is my home. From mountain peaks to prairie lands, the places I have known. And I'm bound to ramble, yes, I'm bound to roam. And when I'm in off the road now, boys, Montana is my home.
Hello, I'm William Marcus. Welcome to another edition of Backroads. We travel Montana looking for stories about people and places that make Montana such a great place to live. Today we're spending time with folks at the Bighorn County Historical Museum in Hardin. The 35-acre museum opened in 1979 and features authentic historic structures, artifacts, and exhibits from the Hardin area. Today they're opening a brand new building that will triple their gallery space and provide a new place for community gatherings and educational opportunities. We'll share in the festivities, give you a tour, and visit with a remarkable lady who's been at the center of the museum's success. This old truck has seen its share of work in farm and ranch country. Let's head off to Fairfield, just west of Great Falls, for a story about farms and schools. And we'll meet a woman who works hard to ensure that the young ones around her develop a nutritional connection to the land.
Early each morning, you'll find her in the pasture. It's calving season for rancher Sally Young and her husband Steve. A critical time for their small cattle operation. The young ones in the corral need a little TLC.
Oh, is that your mama? I see her out there.
Once these guys are fed, Sally will head out to her other job, the one that's down the road at Greenfield Elementary School, home of the Greenfield Cubs.
They're good kids.
At Greenfield, Sally is the school nutritional director, a.k.a. the lunch lady. Forget any negative stereotypes about the profession. Sally is wildly popular with students and teachers.
The lunch lady and the school playground attendant. Everybody loves them.
Recess!
Sally knows what the kids like. She knows what's good for them nutritionally, knows how to prepare it deliciously, and she knows what kids don't like.
I would be lying to you if I said I'd never heard a complaint from one of the kids.
Complaints include
Cabbage.
Ground black pepper,
Ooh, not pepper, not pepper.
cauliflower, or as it's known on the playground, white broccoli,
I had that at home once and I didn't like it.
and a baked potato with the eyes left in it.
You can't eat the eyes. Be sure and cut all the eyes off because they're poisonous.
Students can blame Principal Wilson for any stray eyes. This morning, he's on potato duty.
However you want to do it.
There's a reason why Principal Wilson is helping in the kitchen. Today's lunch will be very special. Here's what's on the menu. Spice-rubbed prime rib, the cut from a Wolf Creek ranch. Whole grain rolls and cookies made with flour from Wheat, Montana. A fruit salad full of flathead cherries. And Yukon Gold potatoes from Ronan. Even the milk is local.
Healthy lunch is important to every single person. But children are still growing and their bones are still growing and their minds, my goodness.
Every school lunch should be this fresh and healthy. At least that's the opinion of the Montana Farm to School Network, an organization that connects school cafeterias with local farms, improving student nutrition while supporting area farms and ranches. It's a good idea that tastes great.
Oh, it looks perfect. I am so hungry.
Thanks to Sally's efforts, Farm to School has been part of Greenfield for 6 years. Signs of success are everywhere. No sack lunches from home in this dining room, or wasted food left on trays.
Is this one too big or is that all right? Okay.
Students are visibly excited about school and eager to learn. They're alert in class, more active on the playground. And by sourcing their food locally, the school saves money. Those are the obvious advantages, but there are broader benefits too.
Oh, the Farm to School program has been excellent for the school. And even on a more personal level, I think our students, when they leave the school, have better eating habits for life.
Usually, the kindergarten class eats first, but today there's an exception to that rule. A 5th grader will get first-in-line honors. Her name is Caroline Rader, and today's special luncheon celebrates her recent achievement. Last year, the Farm to School Network hosted a national poster contest. More than 700 entries promoting health and nutrition were submitted by students across the U.S.
Caroline Rader was one of those students, and her poster was chosen as the national winner for her age group.
And I had the sunrise because we have really pretty sunrises and sunsets in Montana. And then the field with the growing plants is because we grow a lot of different things in Montana, and especially around this area. And then I have kids and animals celebrating the Farm to School.
Caroline's winning poster design will be used to launch next year's Farm to School campaign.
Caroline, here you go. Congratulations again.
Caroline received gift packs of heirloom seeds and gardening gloves. Those she'll share with her fellow students. And her cash prize of $1,000 has already been used to purchase a new freezer for Greenfield to help perpetuate the Farm to School program.
I'd like to thank all of you for joining us to recognize these students and celebrating their accomplishments.
There was also a heartfelt tip of the hat to Lunch Lady Sally.
We love you and everything that you do for us each day, and we can't wait to see what you come up with for lunch on Monday to top this.
Whatever it is will be delicious, and the kids will love it.
Every student, when they leave this lunchroom, thanks me every day. And they don't just thank me, they wait for me to acknowledge them. They're very, very polite, very good kids. Very easy to please.
After a quick cleanup, it's back to the ranch, just in time to help Steve with a tricky delivery. It's this cow's first calf, and it's a breech birth, making it impossible to calve without help. The calf will need to be pulled, a process that must be done quickly, or the calf will suffocate. The evening's delivery was a success. Cow and calf are both doing fine.
You did a good job, Mama. You did a good job, yeah.
Ironically, Steve will have to settle for leftovers or something microwavable for supper. Sally's bushed. For her, it's been a full, rewarding day, looking out for her cows and her kids.
Thank you, Mrs. Young!
Thank you, Mrs. Young.
Farm to School programs are cropping up across Montana. More than 50% of Montana schools are involved in some capacity. Each Farm to School program is unique to the teachers, parents, and farmers who develop them. If your community is interested in starting one, check out farmtoschool.org. The new gallery here at the Bighorn County Historical Museum is cleared for the opening celebrations today. But soon visitors will find extensive photographic displays on the Plains Indians, Fort Custer, and lots of local nostalgia. Hometown artifacts were included in the building structure, including a tin ceiling from an old auto supply store and girders from the Bighorn River Bridge, and this old phone booth, which was used for generations by kids in the local high school. For our next story, we meet Frank and Peg Gephardt in Kalispell. They've worked in the communications business for years and have the connections to prove it. We decided to make a phone call to find out more.
Hello, Central.
Hello. Could I speak to Frank, please?
You'd think it would be easy to get in touch with Kalispell's Frank Gephardt.
Hello.
Yes, I have a gentleman to speak with you. Please deposit your $1.
Hello, Frank, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
I've never talked on one of these before. How'd you make it work?
Time and patience.
Hundreds of phones, phone systems, and other memorabilia fill the offices of the telecommunications business Frank and his wife Peg run.
So that's the operator then?
Right.
Frank says he started collecting in 1956 when he worked as an installer for a telephone equipment company.
They had some of the older phones around it, and I asked the telephone manager there that if was there a possibility of buying one of these wooden phones.
The first phone was an 1894 silver dollar payphone.
It has all the wiring in it to pick up, and you can use it.
Frank says you have to have the correct change to make the payphone work.
It has to chime so that the operator, central as you know, knows what coin you're putting in. There's a special chime for the dollar, a different chime for the 50-cent and 25-cent dime or nickel, all different chimes.
Two other payphones stand out in the Gebhardt's collection. The first came from a ranch owned by cowboy movie star Tom Mix. Frank says the boys in the bunkhouse wanted some extra money to go to town, so they broke into the phone's cash box.
But you can see the marks from the screwdrivers that they pried it open, so that's a story on that. I don't know if they got in trouble or not.
Another favorite phone came from closer to home. Frank tells the story of a cowboy named Slim who was enjoying a beer at a Bitterroot Valley bar when the phone rang.
And Slim said, "Who is it?" And the bartender said, "It's your mother-in-law." And he pulled out his gun and he shot the phone.
It has definitely been shot at. You can see that. Somebody took a shot at that phone, didn't like their wife apparently years ago. I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking out of turn.
Frank is especially proud of his collection of phone booths. This one has a double door closure. It wasn't meant to block the outside sound, but to muffle the sound of the caller, who had to yell into the receiver.
But it's not just phones that interest Frank. He says he enjoys tinkering with the equipment even more.
That phone there has this switch.
Especially on switching devices. An early switch allowed callers to use telegraph keys to bypass an operator and connect to a specific number.
So I'll count it off. Steps the switch up 8. Now it'll go rotary 8. Now I'll be able to ring the phone. And should be able to talk to you.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me? Yes.
That's how it works.
The telegraph keys were replaced with early rotary dials, like on this Sunburst model.
Stays right there.
But Frank says the change brought on new problems.
So if you dialed a 5, you pulled it down to the finger stop, it stayed there. It didn't work well at all because everyone has a different speed. So the equipment couldn't follow all the variety of pulses that it was getting.
Frank has fond memories of the phone he used to ask his wife of more than 50 years out on their first date.
Her number was 38F12. And she said she was busy.
One of our phone numbers. We had 2 or 3 different ones in the transition.
One of Peg's favorites is actually more than just a phone.
Well, the people who were able to afford a nicer phone would have them in their homes, you know, and it was a desk model, and it was had the fancy scrolls and just a nice piece of furniture.
This history of early communications means more to the Gebhardts than any monetary value.
Priceless. Yeah, I'm going to keep collecting as long as I can.
I appreciate the fact that he has done so much to build the collection and to retain knowledge of the history and background of all of the phones.
So what they do with they call a ring off.
Frank's always willing to give tours and tell stories to folks of any age.
So the older people are like to look at that and always bring back memories. The younger ones enjoy it because it's something they've never seen before, especially dialing. It's been a lot of fun. I hope it's going to be a lot more fun.
He just asks that you call ahead first.
You can talk on a wooden phone. It's got static and all.
The Gephardts also take a working phone system into area schools. They say it's important for students to get their hands on the old phones so they can see how far we've come trying to connect with family and friends. For Hardin resident Margaret Ping, the Bighorn County Historical Museum has a direct connection to family and community. She donated 22 acres of family land that got the museum started. She's just a few days away from her 100th birthday and is happy to share her abundance of memories about growing up in the Hardin area.
We moved here from Missouri in 1916. I was 4 years old. I had two aunts in Sheridan who had started a ladies' ready-to-wear store, and they said, "We found the town for you." The thing I'm so glad about is that it was really built for a museum. I just think we never would have dared have it so beautiful. And one of the things we're most happy about is this is going to give us a chance to have a much larger exhibit of Native American things. There are people, of course, who think this may make Hardin as the way Cody Museum made Cody. Whether that'll happen or not, who knows?
Every town should have someone like Margaret Ping, as youthful in spirit as she is wise in years. Every spring in Montana, love is in the air, and on the water, and on the land. Well, it's not exactly love, but it is a rite of the season.
Courtship displays and things have evolved so that males can indicate honestly who they are, and by who I mean how old they are. Older males tend to be dominant. They've been around a while. They're a good choice for a mate because they've obviously done something right. What's interesting about those hooded mergansers, there's 2 males and 1 female. The things the males are doing are indicating their status and their age. And it's hard for us to see, but probably the way they're cocking their heads, the way they're bending their head back. But there's some indicator that's well correlated with age, and that's what the female's using to choose who she's going to mate with. The redneck grebes have already kind of fought with each other, the males and the females, and paired off a little bit, and now they're at the stage where those that have chosen one another are doing displays that are well synchronized to sort of to solidify that pair bond.
Sage grouse make some really interesting noises. Sometimes you can hear them from a long ways away. One of the noises they make almost sounds like a giant water drop, kind of a boink, boink. Something about that turns on the females, and they'll come in and select a mate if he's making that noise just the right way. Sage grouse gather every spring on traditional breeding leks, where the males will all get and gather on one place and compete with each other to look the best, to sound the best, and then to breed with females that come in and pick a mate from their displays. They'll fight each other, they'll peck at each other, one male to the other, or slap each other with their wings. So it's really just a spectacle.
March, April, and May are the best months to observe this bird behavior in Montana. For more on the best places to go and what to see in the state, check out the Montana Audubon website at mtaudubon.org. Many people in the Hardin area gave up their recreational time to volunteer on the new museum building project. Author and cartoonist Stan Lind of Ricochet fame grew up in Lodgegrass. He helped kick off the fundraising campaign that brought in $1.2 million.
It's always been a great volunteer community, and And this kind of occasion, whether it's a benefit for a family or a great cause like this, it's just kind of the usual thing in Bighorn County. People are generous, hardworking, and they do love their roots, and that they have those here at Bighorn.
Our final story is in central Montana, where we meet a talented man making musical instruments. But it's another skill, a virtue, that's helping him face the biggest challenge of his life.
A little bit tight. I want to get it perfect.
Wayne Hampton has always been skilled with his hands, but it takes more to build a beautiful handcrafted musical instrument.
Patience, about as much as anything. Patience and the desire to stay with your job until it's done, and I think that's one reason that I have succeeded, because I don't give up.
Wayne is working on a 5-foot-tall harp. He hasn't been in the workshop. Recently, life has had more rough edges, but he still believes hard work has its rewards. The joy of giving away nearly 24 of his handmade instruments to family around the country, or to a longtime neighbor.
I will always love and cherish this harp because he's such a wonderful person. A, B, C, D.
The pleasure of offering friends the opportunity to learn a new instrument.
I feel very lucky that I can do this, so it's nice to have a friend that can help me.
There's the fulfillment Wayne will get tomorrow when he goes to see his daughter play a harp he made. But the greatest satisfaction comes from the muse of his musical instruments. Wayne is stopping his work to go meet her right now. He's off to see the woman who first asked him to make a harp, his wife of nearly 60 years, Mary Ann.
He did a lot of it when he discovered how much fun it was.
Mary Ann and Wayne met in Kentucky and fell in love.
I thought she had the prettiest blue eyes of anybody I've ever seen.
They moved to Montana in 1956 and raised 3 children. They did everything together. They ran a successful grain farm outside Fort Benton, Wayne on one tractor, Mary Ann on another. Even in retirement, they worked side by side.
Their work, their hobbies, their life, they were always such a team.
It's kind of a special car for homemade, really made for her.
When Wayne used his hands to work on a collection of vintage cars and trucks,
That's the air conditioner.
Mary Ann was instrumental. After he bought this old grain truck, she provided the vision to turn it into a community asset. The trolley has appeared in parades and special occasions around Fort Benton. So 25 years ago, when Mary Ann wanted a harp, Wayne got the blueprints for a new collaboration. With almost no right angles and more than 30 strings, it was not a simple task. They traded ideas on the look and feel. Wayne doesn't play any of the instruments, but he made one harp, then another.
I guess I never had the desire to play one as much as I had to make one. So that's kind of odd, isn't it?
He made more stringed instruments, a hurdy-gurdy, a mandolin, a hammered dulcimer, a mountain dulcimer, and the predecessor to the violin, the bowed psaltery. He kept making and giving, and when he drove an hour north for his daughter Gail's weekend performance, he was filled with pride.
It's heaven on earth. It was just beyond my thoughts that I could ever sit and hear my daughter play a harp that I made.
I probably wouldn't have been nearly as motivated to work on him had it not been something that my father made.
That was his greatest pleasure in life, I believe, that Dad could bring joy to other people.
When the performance ended, Wayne was already in Fort Benton. There was a stronger pull than the music. He needed to be with the woman who inspired all those accomplishments.
You bet, you bet, you bet.
Mary Ann is in a local nursing home. Her connection to the music, her family, and even her husband is rapidly fading.
Mary Ann has Alzheimer's disease.
It's been pretty hard, and really hard to know that I just got to face that situation, and maybe just know that she may never be better again. It's hard to believe it, but I have to.
Alzheimer's is almost more a disease of the family as much as it is the person. But until it hits it, you don't really feel it. The person's changes so much from the one you knew, and that's probably the hardest part. And I'm sure it's the hardest part for him too. That you keep talking and thinking about the way they were.
The harp Wayne's been working on is the first he's made in a while. The strength of a 60-year love affair drew him to the hospital instead of the workshop. When he finishes, his daughter will play it. But his wife won't remember. He won't be able to share the rewards with Mary Ann. For Wayne Hampton, the man whose hands have given so much to so many, he's now giving the simplest gift of all.
I guess the fact that I love her, and still do and always will. She's been a companion for so long that she's just been a wonderful life. Let me hold your hand, Ma. I'd like to hold your hand. I've always liked to hold your hand.
Wayne says that as long as friends and family keep requesting, he'll keep building musical instruments. Of all the string instruments he's made, he's never built a guitar, so maybe that'll be next. Well, that's how our show played out for today. We'd like to thank the folks here at the Bighorn County Historical Museum, especially Director Diana Scheidt and Margaret Ping. Almost every county in Montana has an historical museum. Be sure to stop by on your trips around Big Sky Country. And stop at the public library for copies of earlier Backroads shows, or watch us online at montanapbs.org. We always welcome your story ideas. Send them to the Backroads of Montana, the University of Montana, Missoula, Montana, 59812. As long as you keep watching, we'll keep covering the Backroads of Montana. I'm William Marcus. See you next time.
Backroads of Montana is made possible with production support from the Greater Montana Foundation, encouraging communication on issues, trends, and values of importance to Montanans. The Montana Office of Tourism at visitmt.com, and the University of Montana.
Montana is my home. From mountain peaks to prairie lands, the places I have known. And I'm bound to ramble, yes, I'm bound to roam. And when I'm in off the road now, boys, Montana is my home. Coming in off the road now, boys, you know I'm heading